Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Today we're back on the updates 1.87 dev server and it's time to have a look at the top tier vehicle for the Germans when it comes to air forces, the rank 6 battle rating 10.0 vehicle, the Mig-19S. Now this comes after the MiG-15 bis in the tree for the Germans, so if you want to grind that out to be able to get this, then you can get a bit of a heads up. But on top of it, I'm not sure I'm going to do a video on it, but I will just show it here. There's also the CL-13B Mark 6, which is also coming in at 9.3. So it's kind of up to you which one you want to grind out. But the MiG-19S, it has three 30mm, the NR30s on them, two in the wings, and then one below the pilot right here. So you have 210 rounds of ammunition, 70 per gun, which is not too bad, and then 1,000 rounds a minute, so you're going to go through them pretty quickly. It also has access to some engines, the Mikulin RD9Bs with 2,392 kgf. On top of this, it also has a fuel tank, which isn't that big. I thought it would be a hell of a lot bigger. The big difference between this and the other 10.0 jets that we have in-game is that this does not have access to air-to-air missiles. It does have access to a few other things. It has access to some bombs and some rockets, but no air-to-airs. Instead, you have to rely completely on these 30mm to be able to get you a bunch of kills. And for me, I'm not sure I see that as a bad thing. Whenever I've seen AAMs used in War Thunder, it seems to be to set up a kill. It seems to be used to make somebody veer off and change movement, so therefore they lose speed, you gain, and then you wrap a bap with the cannons. And with the addition of the Mitsubishi T2, I'm wondering if this idea is going to change, or if it's still going to stay very similar compared to before. And I think when I look at the 10.0 vehicles, the Mig-19S might be being overlooked. It's faster in acceleration and top speed than the Mig-19. It doesn't have the same top speed as the other two vehicles, but one of the things that put the Mig-19 on top when it comes to aerialistic is the acceleration into battle. I don't think it was the air-to-air missiles, I think it was that fact. So now, you take another MiG-19, you add another gun to it, you take away the ability to carry air-to-airs, but you increase its speed. Does that mean that this will become the meta vehicle? Or will the fact that it has less versatility, because it doesn't have the air-to-airs, be a massive drag on it? I think it won't be. So we have some armor, 70mm round and 60mm, of bulletproof glass. On top of this, when it comes to the customization, there is only, unfortunately, this one silver skin. And it is a nice skin. You have the wonderful German emblems on it as well. I'm just kind of sad that this doesn't have extra skins, but, it's okay. What we'll do is we'll take it into a test flight, and I'll show you what I mean by a vehicle which is pretty good. Because why is it going up against that? That's not correct. Oh, enemy fighters. Why would the enemy fighters being German? Why am I facing Germany? What? Is this thing coded as a Soviet plane? I mean, it might be. Who knows? But let's just go here and just play through this. But yeah, the nice thing about the Germans is that they've got two top-tier jets for them. Now, none of these have had dev logs. There was also the Leopard 2A5, which was around. But to me, it seems like that was kind of a leak, which wasn't supposed to come out. Whereas we have had a dev log on this, the Mig-19S. We didn't have one on the premium version of the German aircraft until recently when its pre-order came out, and the Canadair Sabre, or the CL I should say, has just been kept quiet completely. So the question is, with this aircraft, is can it stand up without air-to-air missiles? That's the only thing that's really going through my mind right now. And when I compare it to the Mitsubishi, I'm not sure it does. And the reason is because of its late tier speed. When we go over 1,000 kilometers an hour, the Mitsubishi just keeps going, whereas the Mig-19 does not. So it may have the acceleration up to this point, up to the point where we are creating the cloud. But when it comes to the idea of fighting it around 1300 or 1400, that just doesn't seem like a possibility. Instead, it seems like that machine is just going to fly hard away from you. So instead we've got to compare it to the Mig-19PT. The Mig-19PT being the closest aircraft to this, right? It's basically the same thing, just with one less gun on it. And I think it definitely will stand up. I think against an F-100 it will do really well. Against an F-100, this machine makes sense. You know, it has the acceleration to be able to dogfight it. The only thing it doesn't have is the raw speed. And generally, you would want a machine that dogfights better than does raw speed. The problem with the Mitsubishi is that its raw speed is so much higher than this machine. You know, we've been going in a straight line and pattering about for a while in this thing, and it's struggling to get over Mach 1. And the reason for that is because of the altitude that it's at, and all of these different things. But right now, you know, it's still flying well, it's still keeping a good speed, as long as it gets between the markers. It's just, I'm trying to work out how a machine like this goes up against the Mitsubishi and wins. I think it can, but the Mitsubishi has to screw up. And because of the extra acceleration on this, over the Mig-19PT, I think it makes it easier to make the Mitsubishi screw up, because you'll have more chances, because you'll be able to turn that little bit more, you'll be able to engage that little bit faster, and deal with the threat that would be around at that time, at least against the Mitsubishi. From the way that I'm feeling this plane, it feels like against the current meta, the Mig-19P and the F-100, it would do pretty well. But in this extended meta that we're going into, I don't think it will. Just because of that one thing. Just because of that one single plane. That wonderful the wonderful Mitsubishi. It's very odd that we can't actually get a head-to-head in this thing. Fine, well, let's go and do some artillery ground strike. Screw it. Ah yes, I-16s and HU-112s, that's what I wanted to fight. There seems to be something odd going on with this plane where it doesn't think that it's a German plane. I've got a feeling that they might have copied over a lot of the assets from the other one, and one of the things that they copied over was the fact that it was a Soviet plane. So when it comes to the mission editor, the way the mission editor works is that it puts you on the country's side that it thinks you are. The problem is, I'm thinking it thinks it's Soviet. And, you know, I mean, technically it is, right? You know. And maybe this will go into the matchmaker as well. Something that we haven't really talked about is the effect that planes like this and planes like the Mitsubishi have on the matchmaker, where we have F-100Ds and Mitsubishis against two sets of Mig-19s. Well, technically that would make sense, right? And I wonder if they will actually put it in the game like that. Or it will just be a free-for-all, kind of like how it is now because of who is playing what. When we talk about the cockpit of this thing, the cockpit is also very nice. There is not a ton going on, all of the lovely HD parts here. The only problem, as you can see, is that little bit of flickering. Not exactly sure why it's flickering, but it is flickering. So it would be nice to solve that, or just fix that. Still, once again, just sitting around Mach 1, where the Mitsubishi here would be at 1300 and not really caring. And my god. And of course we have the HU-112s. Not really a lot those planes can do against us. Bad day at the office for those two. But I think, going forward, this plane will teach us a lot about the game. Because the way I see it is, air-to-airs are all cool, and they're well and good and everything, but they don't, most of the time, kill anything. Instead, what you have is situations where you use them to set up kills. And with this machine here, you don't have that opportunity. So will it go back to how it was before, with the top tier stuff? Or will it stay the way it is, with people using air-to-airs to set up kills, and then pushing forward from that? Or will we see a move towards more gunplay? And that would screw over stuff like the Mitsubishi, but it would obviously make something like this feel great. And it would make it feel, workable, in effect. We'll have to see. My money is that this plane gets used more than the Mig-19 PT. Even though the PT has air-to-airs and also got some better ones, I've got a feeling that the extra gun that this thing is going to get, and also the fact that it's in the German tree, will mean that this will become the vehicle that most use against the Mitsubishi or against the F-100. I have a worrying feeling that if this thing gets matched up with the Mitsubishi, then we'll have a horrible collection of the fastest aircraft in game, with air-to-airs, and the highest acceleration aircraft in game, with cannons, aka this machine here. So for me, it would be better to put them against each other, instead of on the same side. But then again, will that happen, or will we have more of this mixed idea going on? If they put them on the same side, we have issues. That's all I'm going to say. And it does make me wonder what other supersonic jets we're going to get. Now that we have such different contrasts, with this thing and then with the Mitsubishi, now it opens the door to many other jets that we could get going forward. We have seen a lot of jets being added to rank 5 and 6 over this update, and hopefully we'll see a few more in the coming months. Anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.